Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm the Comeback Kid, and today I'm going to recap for you guys my Summer Backlog 2012 games that I picked to beat. And if you remember, probably 5 months ago or so, back in May, I put out a video saying my Summer Backlog, and here are the games I'm going to show you. Some of them I didn't beat, and some of them I did. So let me show you the games that I tried to beat this summer. We have God of War 3. Actually, let me start with the God of War collection. I kind of cheated myself because everybody picked 5 games and I actually picked like 12, I think, or 11. And anyway, God of War collection. I did beat both of these games because I never played either God of War. Now, let me say I liked both of these games. I liked the God of War series. It's a very fun action hack and slash type of genre, and I really enjoyed it. The first one, I have to say, was quite difficult for me. I didn't expect it to be that hard, but it was. There were some very, very frustrating moments that were quite, rage-inducing, especially towards the end. Most of the time, there were platforming segments, not actually hack and slash segments, that were frustrating to me. You had to walk across these little cylinders with spikes on them, and if you fall off, you have to like redo the whole thing. And then there's a section where you have to like climb a wall where there's spikes spinning, and if they hit you once, you fall down. You have to do it all over again. You have to climb like 3 of those in a row. They were very frustrating, and it pissed me off quite a bit. Actually, the final boss is kind of difficult as well. But that being said, I did beat it, and it was a very good hack and slash game with lots of blood and gore and awesome combos. So I really enjoyed it. God of War 2, there was a lot more emphasis on big, epic boss battles and quick time events, and stuff on much more epic proportions than there was on the first game. And the second one was a lot easier too. Out of the two, I have to say the second one was definitely my favorite out of these two. Now, that being said, I beat God of War 3 as well. I played them all in order. This one is more the same like number 2 was, building onto the story of God of War 2. Much more epic boss fights, just like in the second one, except this one stepped it up even more. The visuals are top notch. Everything, graphic wise, is excellent in this game. It just looks absolutely beautiful. I have to say this one's a lot more easier, I should say, than the other two. I don't know if it's because people were complaining about the difficulty on the first one, but they made this one a lot more easy. And I have to say that it's probably my second favorite out of the two. God of War 2 being my favorite, then probably this one and then the first one. Just because the first one was a little bit more tedious and with the puzzles and stuff that you had to do, and it was a little bit more hard. But this one is definitely a must-have for your PS3 collection. Very good hack and slash games. Now, for some reason I was in hack and slash mood when I was picking my games for my backlog, and I decided to pick Heavenly Sword. I picked this up way later because I didn't get a PS3 until sometime in 2010, and I always wanted to play this game. For being an early PS3 game, this is a very visually stunning game, including the facial recognition and graphics that are done in this game, with especially the Emperor, or whatever his name is, the main bad guy. The voice acting and the way the mouths match up with the words are really good, and like I said, the voice acting is really excellent. And I think the game is just a visually beautiful game with lots of good lighting. It kind of reminds me of Eco in the lighting department. As far as the gameplay goes, I have to say the gameplay is pretty complex. From what I remember, you have to it's either you do ranged attacks, middle attacks, or heavy attacks, and like that you have to switch the combat style in order to meet the situation that the enemy is doing. So it's kind of like a paper rock scissors mechanic, in which heavy attacks can hurt ranged attacks in certain situations. It just depends on what the enemy's doing, and it can get quite difficult at times, especially when you're getting overrun with enemies. And another aspect of the game which is kind of difficult is when it forces you to use the six-axis controller scheme when you're controlling an arrow to kill an enemy. It can be quite difficult if you don't get the 6-axis controls spot on. And being an early PS3 game, they kind of, you know, they were wanting to explore the 6-axis option in a lot of games, and this is one of them. Other than that, I say the game is really good. Besides the difficulty curve, I say give it a shot because it's a very good and very short hack and slash game. Next we have Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. I bought this on day one, but actually didn't get to play it until a couple months ago. You know, that's just how it goes sometimes with the stuff you have to do and the games you have. But this is a very good movie, and it's an okay game. There's a lot of cutscenes, you know. It's like cutscene, shoot a couple people, cutscene, shoot a couple people, like that. And in my opinion, the shooting mechanics in any of the Uncharted games have not been that great. There's been countless times in all the Uncharted games where I swear I'm shooting someone in the head and it doesn't register. I don't know if it's me or if it's the shooting mechanics seem a little bit off. That's just my opinion. But it's a very good, well done, and well told story. You know, on epic proportions. I think that Uncharted 2 is a lot better than this because, you know, going from 1 to 2, there's just a giant step in the amount of epicness, you know, compared to Uncharted 1. But going from 2 to 3, this kind of takes a step down a little bit. It's still, you know, tons of epicness in this game, but nothing compared to 2. And like I said, it's a good movie, but it's an okay game. Definitely still a must-have for your PS3 collection, but I don't think it's, you know, all that it was cracked up to be, personally. We're going to go to some of the games that I did not beat. Here we go. Zelda I didn't touch just because I didn't have time. Same with Dead Space 2, didn't have time to touch that, unfortunately. Radiant Historia I did start playing on the planed packs. I didn't play that much, honestly. I only played like an hour or two of it, but it's a kind of a simplistic RPG, which is turn-based, but there's like a grid, not really a grid system, but like you can move forward or back, determining like how powerful or weak your attacks are going to be, and you can actually knock the enemies back and forward. It's kind of difficult. The way I'm explaining it, but it's not that difficult. Like I said, I only played an hour or two of it, so I didn't get that deep into it, so it's kind of hard for me to kind of explain it because I totally don't understand it at all, you know, honestly. But the story seems really good, in which this kid can like rewind time, and he's the chosen one that can do that, and but he can only do it to an extent. It's kind of weird, but this was the reprint I got, so I say pick it up if you haven't already. If you like Chrono Trigger or something like that. The combat style is not exactly like Chrono Trigger. It's not that simple, but the story is kind of similar to Chrono Trigger. So pick it up if you haven't tried it. Infamous 2 I did play and complete. This is a very, very fun third-person shooter / action game. And when I say shooter, I mean shooting lightning out of your hand. I did enjoy the first Infamous as well. And it's more of the same, except you get a little bit more power-ups, and, you know, there's a little bit more epic bosses and stuff like that. But essentially it's kind of the same as Infamous 1. They give you the ability to use ice now, and I forget what else. I think you use fire, I can't remember. But you can use ice in addition to your electrical abilities, and there's more characters that are with you to make good and bad decisions. Basically, there's two characters that go team up with you. One's kind of like a bad character, one's a good character, and you can choose which side to side with, and that can make you good or evil. And basically, it's more of Infamous, and it's not a bad thing necessarily. So another must-have for your PS3 collection, exclusively. Next we have Rage. This is a fun first-person post-apocalyptic shooter, similar to Borderlands because it's basically a lot of fetch questing stuff going on. There's not too much in the story department that I care to remember, honestly, because it was not that memorable. The game looks good, but it does... I think they want you to install this game to get the maximum experience out of the game. There's like tons of gigs to install, so I just didn't even bother. But you know, if you want a cheap game, which is this is around like less than $10, that is similar to Borderlands, in which you can, you know, save a bit of time, or you know, what was I gonna say? If you want a time killer, basically, similar to Borderlands, pick up Rage if you want something cheap. And last but not least, Shadows of the Damned. This is a Suda51 third-person shooter, very similar in style to Resident Evil 4 and 5, or the later Resident Evils, 4, 5, and 6, except I think it's a lot better, honestly. The style is that trippy Suda51 style, crazy. You're like in hell battling these monsters, but there's a great sense of humor about it, and I loved every moment of it. Basically, I thought it was excellent, well done. The story's kind of, you know, with Suda51 games, there's not a real in-depth story. It just, you're dropped in that situation, and that's what's happening right then, and you have to play. And basically, this dude's girlfriend is like in hell. They're both in hell or something. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played it. But like, this dude in hell is like trying to take this dude's girlfriend away from him, and you have to like save her. And like, she keeps dying over and over in front of him. And you have this gun that like talks to you, and basically he's the comedy throughout the game, and like, you can transform him into other guns like sniper rifles and stuff like that, and to shoot for you. And just it's a really great game from Suda51. And yeah, if you haven't played it, it's kind of a cult hit. I don't think it sold that well, so pick it up. If you see it around, you won't be missing out. If you were kind of wanting something different out of Resident Evil 4, give this one a shot. It's a really fun game. Or Resident Evil 5. And that is it for my summer backlog. Like I said, I completed some of them, but not all of them. What did I beat? I beat, let's see, I beat most of them actually. I beat God of War Collection, that's 3 games technically. Family Sword, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I beat 8 games, and didn't beat Dead Space, Raiding Historia, or Zelda, so 8 out of 11, yeah, 11 isn't too bad. Not to mention, I played a lot of other stuff during the summer, so that's not too bad, including, I'll show you guys just a little bit of what I played this summer. Lollipop Chainsaw, I'll get into that a little later if I've already talked about it. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which I actually really liked. And lots of other stuff, including Borderlands 2, which I'm sure you guys know about, that I've played the hell out of. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. My recap of my summer backlog. I'll catch you guys more videos later. Thanks for watching.